What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. Welcome to the show. First and foremost, if you are a new listener or if you are a returning guest, I urge you to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast if you have not already. That is a huge help for me. It's very simple. It's free. No time at all. But if you got something that you like about the podcast, leave me a little review about what you like. And, thank you in advance for taking the time out of your day to, do something as simple as that for me. Also, very, very, very important. If you have not got the chocolate caramel limited edition Turner's milk, you might be missing out. I don't know how much is left on the shelves. It's been out for a couple weeks now. And I know that it got to be running low if it has not already. But if you go to a local bodega and you cannot find the chocolate caramel milk, you could always fall back on the old time favorite, the Turner's Premium Iced Tea. I favor the Diet Premium Iced Tea. That's just the way I roll. But I mean, there ain't nothing crispier than that. A nice tea on a warm day. The weather's been great lately. Beautiful, sunny. There ain't nothing better than just getting out in the sun, having a nice Turner's. You already know that. But I'm not going to sit here and talk your ear off the whole time. I want to get to the episode because this week is a very, very special one. This week, I sit down with Patrick Deivernois. He is he's a 23-year-old dude who just hiked the Appalachian Trail. If you don't know what the Appalachian Trail is, it is a 2,200-mile trail that goes from Maine, and I can't remember where he said he ended, but that's neither here nor there. 2,200 miles, and this guy just hiked this in, 7 months. And his whole story about how he got into, being outdoorsy is it's kind of mind blowing. I expected him to be like, oh, I was an Eagle Scout. I've been doing this shit for years. He has not. He started hiking he started hiking in 2017. But he's just been doing like light day hikes and everything like that. And, he just hiked the fucking Appalachian Trail. And just to put that into perspective, about 1 in 4 people actually complete the AT, which is, that's pretty damn impressive. And he did it, relatively easy from what I have gathered from our conversations. But Pat Deivernois is a absolute monster. And, this whole conversation is about, all the preparation that took place, like what he did physically, what he did mentally, the gear that he took with him, what was important, what was not important, what did he get rid of, all kinds of good shit. But on top of all that good stuff, he is beginning another journey in a couple weeks, which is absolutely insane. He's about to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, which is 450 miles longer than the Appalachian Trail, which is, it's insane. It's going to take months of time. Like every time these people do these crazy feats, this is like, a moment in time, like 7 months. Like, can you understand? Like 7 months is such like a, that's a chunk of your life. And you're like living this hiker, just mentality. It was insane. The whole conversation was ridiculous. I was pumped about it. Probably one of my favorite episodes now. And Pat was just a super cool dude. And on top of all this stuff that he did, hiking the 2,200 miles, sleeping outside, all this stuff, he did it all in a kilt. And, at first, whenever I saw pictures of it, I didn't know what to think of the kilt. I was like, I wonder why this guy's wearing a kilt. Maybe he just wears kilts. But I've learned that there is some, functionality to a kilt. So without further ado, episode 157 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Patrick Deivernois, Patrick Whole Foods Deivernois. I also learned that on the Appalachian Trail, everyone has their own names, but I hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you for listening. And here we go.
Telephone.
Hello? I'll call you right back podcast. Simple as that, and that's how we started out. Does it sound good in your headphones?
Yeah. Good? Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. So I've been very, very excited to talk to you. So before we get into all this, because I know it's going to be a good conversation, let's get into the first segment. So I do an opening segment with everyone. It's called "What's in the Cup." Cup. So what is in your cup?
I got Kivia.
Kvidia. I don't know what this is. I know you asked for the Synergy one. I could not find it.
It doesn't matter. They're all the same.
I'm excited to try this. So, kombucha, give it a go. This is peach pineapple, or pineapple peach. It's real good. I love peach. I'm a big peach fan.
It's good.
It's hard to swallow.
It's a little acidity or
so much.
Carbonation.
So I don't even know how I came across you. I really don't. I think I came across you. Someone might have posted an article on Facebook, and I saw someone in a kilt, and as the photo, and I started reading it, and it said that you hiked the whole Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, first off, where are you even from?
I'm from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And I mean, are you I take it you're like an outdoorsy person?
Yeah.
And you grew up like that?
No, it's just through when I went to college, I had internships, and whenever I was placed in various locations around the US for internships, I decided to take on hiking.
Really? So that was like something later in life?
Yeah, this is just sort of a spontaneous evolution, we'll call it.
Wow, I thought you were going to be like, yeah, I was a Boy Scout my entire life.
No, I'm the only one who's very outdoorsy in my immediate family.
So before we get into the outdoorsy stuff, like what are you like as a kid? Like what were your hobbies? Like what were you into?
Playing video games, hanging out with friends, but I just decided in time, I was like, yeah, I think it's time to move on to better things than that. Not saying there's nothing wrong with video games, but
oh yeah, I mean people are making livings off of it. Were you were a big gamer?
Oh yeah.
What kind of stuff did you play?
Halo 3, Call of Duty 4. Those are my two favorites.
And that was like, I mean, would you say that was like your biggest like interest and hobby like growing up, or were you a sports person?
Yeah, my friends and I followed sports. We played fantasy football, football in the backyard in the winters. And
did you play any sports in school?
In high school, I played football, but other than that, no.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to be like, yo, yeah, I've been outdoorsy my entire life. So, I mean, Gibsonia, I know where it is, but like, is that like do you live in a bigger town? Like, is that a bigger area or no?
Have you ever heard of Pirates School District?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I went to school.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So, I mean, you go to school and like through school, you're obviously not hiking and stuff like that. It's like, and there was no ideas of being a hiker and someone that was going to hike this Appalachian Trail up until like, graduating?
The semester before my last semester and previously, I had a college friend named Kenna who would tell me about all her brother's adventures on the Appalachian Trail. So I just piqued my curiosity and I did my research and I liked what I saw.
Wow.
So
that's pretty incredible.
Much 5 months before I graduated, I decided to do it. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to do this.
Yeah. I mean, you're young. How old are you?
23.
Now, what did you go to school for?
I went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania they have a program there called Safety, Health, and Environmental Applied Sciences. It's like occupational safety and health.
So what was your idea of like a job you would have graduating through that?
I'd say I could work for U.S. Steel in one of their production plants. It's essentially just reducing hazards and injuries in like a workplace environment, an industrial workplace environment. So like a factory, a hospital.
Yeah. That makes sense. So is that something that you were interested in, like younger? How did you fall into that career path?
I actually found it on accident again. I took a tour of IUP, and previously I wanted to be a teacher, but somehow I got dissuaded from that. And since I liked science, I figured that was an avenue I could go down.
Yeah.
So while at IUP, they had a career fair, and I was like, oh, well, might as well go take a look at the science-related majors. Me and my mom took a tour of the career fair. I didn't like biology. I didn't like chemistry. Physics I despised. And I came across the safety science booth, and I had no idea what it is, so I just asked.
Yeah.
And in short, the conversation pretty much ended as, if you like science and talking to people, this is the major for you.
Oh,
so
cool.
I was just sort of intrigued by that, did some independent research, liked what I saw, and the rest is history.
I feel like that I didn't really, take that period in life too seriously, as far as like, looking for what the possibilities were after high school. I immediately I just thought about the typical things you'd hear, like, oh, you could be a teacher, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, things like that. So I originally went to school for being elementary ed and special ed, but I got dissuaded from that just through the fact that everyone's saying, oh, you would have to move to get a decent job, kind of be out of the state. But it's interesting, it's interesting how everything navigates through life. But so you're going on all these internships. So when's the first time you ever went on a hike?
I don't know if I can pin the date, but I would say it's probably in the spring/summer of 2017.
Oh, wow.
So
this is so recent. And Appalachian Trail is for the OG veterans that are so this brings a whole new level of my curiosity of all this. So your first hike, what is, how long is it? Is it something big, or is it
just a day?
Nothing serious, right?
No, nothing serious.
And you loved it immediately?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I was in Tennessee for my first internship, and that place I love Tennessee. It's one of my favorite states.
Everyone that I've known who has gone there, my wife went there. She said it's incredible. Yeah. I've never been there yet.
Yeah, the Smoky Mountains are something special to look at.
So you're on this internship, and you're hiking, and are you camping, or is it just day hikes?
It's sort of just day trips, really.
Wow. And it just progresses over time through that.
Well, actually, the Appalachian Trail was my first multi-day overnight trip.
Oh, wow.
Anything enough.
Really? So the first time you did that, wait. You never camped overnight hiking before you did the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is so crazy to me. So, now, when from the first time you hiked to when you did the Appalachian Trail, what's the time period of that?
Let's say I started summer of 2017, and it's I pretty much decided in December of 2019 I'm going to do it. So let's say 2 years.
Wow. And are you hardcore going on it, every weekend type things beforehand?
Oh yeah, I was pretty much hiking every weekend.
Oh, great. Okay. I was going to be this is insane that you're just picking up and I'm going to do this. So, gradually over time, I'm sure you start to acquire, more knowledge about hiking, what you need, things like that. Are you doing research?
Yeah, no, I researched this. I wasn't, I'm not going to walk into this kind of a challenge or task just blind. You have to do your research before.
So 2,200 miles.
Yeah.
Appalachian Trail. What day did you start?
I started on July 13th going southbound. So I started in Maine and I went down to Georgia. I did the opposite way of what the traditional way is.
So, why is that? Any specific reason?
The only reason I did southbound is because I couldn't do it northbound, because I did the internship my last semester in order to graduate. So okay. I was stuck with a southbound trip or die pretty much.
Yeah. And doing this, what kind of preparations physically do you do before you do this Appalachian Trail?
I hiked before that, but that's the only thing that you can really do to prepare for it.
Yeah, it's just get out there and get it.
Yeah, you just have to get comfortable with a backpack on your shoulders.
And now,
that's the most important thing.
What it's so crazy to me that the Appalachian Trail was the first overnight thing that you did. I don't know, it's insane to me. So you're preparing for this. How do you know what you need if you've never done overnight hiking or anything like that?
YouTube.
That's it.
So I just read articles.
I assume that there's probably a lot on YouTube that of people that kind of give you every sort of thing that you need to know about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow.
So Homemade Wanderlust is one of the most popular ones.
Homemade Wanderlust.
Yeah, her name's Dixie.
And she just
she talks about this stuff too.
Oh wow.
So a bunch of other people, but she's a popular one. She's usually the first one that comes to mind.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look into it. And it's just her, doing videos of her hiking and doing.
Yeah, she explains multiple different topics and.
Oh, cool. So you plan on doing this, and from December you decided, and then you started hiking in July.
Yeah.
Now, are you planning, like how far into it are you planning? Are you planning like how many miles per day, or is this kind of just like touch and go?
Touch and go. I was like, we'll figure everything else out when it happens.
What does your mother say whenever you say?
Oh, she screamed at me when she found out. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, it's happening whether you like it or not."
I know, and they just have to embrace it because you're an adult, and it's like, really, what can you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm gonna do it. This is my life. Yeah. That's so awesome that like you kind of just like have this mentality, just want to do it.
Yeah.
And it all strictly is. I mean, like it all like comes from some stories you hear of other people, and their adventures doing it, right?
Yeah, it was just curiosity and interest, really.
Now, were you planning to do this alone?
Yeah, I went by myself.
Oh, wow. And that was the original plan. So it's like, what, I need to know what's in your pack, because I've talked to my cousin who I've interviewed on here before. He has biked across the country, and we've talked about what his gear was, and how, I mean, for you to hike that, everything got to be, pretty, you want to have the least amount of weight possible, obviously. Yeah. So what is in your pack? How do you prepare for that? And what's your mindset through that? Are you sleeping in a tent?
Specifics in it?
Yeah. What's in it? Are you sleeping in a tent the whole time?
Yeah. I slept in a tent the whole time.
Wow. And now where's what's the idea of the kilt? Did you wear that the whole time?
Yeah. Well, I didn't wear it starting out.
Yeah.
But from New Hampshire all the way to Georgia.
How many miles is that? A shitload?
Yeah, it's 1,700.
Oh my God. So more than halfway you wore that. So what's the reasoning behind it?
Pure awesomeness.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's kind of practical. It's just ventilation, ease of access, freedom of movement.
That's what
style.
I talked to my other buddy is an avid camper and backpacker, and I'm like, I'm about to talk to this dude who hiked this. And he was like, a kilt. And he was like, it's probably a good idea. And I was like, dude, it's probably a great idea. Yeah. You're not chafing. You're not I mean, realistically, you're dirty while you're doing this a majority of the time.
Oh, yeah. You smell like crap.
Yeah, like garbage. So if you have underwear on the whole time, it's like, eventually they're going to get dirty.
Yeah.
So the logistics behind it is very, very logical. And it's an interesting thought because I just never seen anyone do it. And I saw some pictures. Was there another guy wearing a kilt?
Yeah, I hiked with a guy named Crash, but the kilt he was wearing was like a sort of a black, thinner kilt. That was the one I wore originally. It's by Sports Kilt.
Oh, so there's a brand that has oh, wow.
So it's actually a hiking kilt. It's designed to hiking. It's designed for hiking, but the one I wore is actually like a traditional heavyweight Scottish kilt.
Wow. Now, are you someone that wore a kilt before you hiked?
No, never in my life.
So a kilt came into play because, did you hear about people hiking in them?
No, I met people hiking in kilts. I was like, hey, I like your kilt. Why are you wearing it? And they're like, gave me a few good reasons, gave me some funny stories how they got hit on at various places because they were wearing it.
I feel like it was very, very important for me to ask about that because it could either have been like, I've been wearing a kilt all my whole life, just to do it. But the logistics behind it it's more interesting because realistically, that's what people, back in the fucking, Stone Age would do. They're wearing loincloths and shit. So
it's a moment of enlightenment when you first put it on. It's a feeling you will never get.
It's liberating. I'm sure it is. So your mindset of what you pack into this pack, because obviously you have to worry about shelter. You have to worry about nourishment. You got to worry about water. And you got to worry about, I would assume, safety and kind of first aid a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have any so you have your phone the whole time? I mean, is that a good safety net? Are you always in range to be able to have that and use that?
Yeah, you can, even when your phone is not, or doesn't have cellular signal, you can still use it. There's a specific app people use called Guthook.
Yeah.
It gives you a map of the entire Appalachian Trail and it locates you step by step along the whole way.
Were you using your phone?
I was using that as my navigation.
Wow.
Because the only other form of navigation is a blue blaze on a tree.
Yeah.
That's the only other way you know that you're in the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, wow. And sometimes you could get lost a little bit with those
sometimes
things.
You can get a little lost or,
now
question yourself, but then,
for you to prepare for this, What size pack did you use?
I use a 7-liter pack just
Okay.
for the extra space. I was like, if I need 20 extra liters, I have it rather than cramming everything into a 50.
Yeah, I mean, like, and a 70-liter pack that's a big pack. Like, that's a multiple overnight pack. So, I mean, that's a decent size. You could fit a good bit in that. What is in your pack?
Like, do you want to know, like,
I want to know
specifics?
every single thing in your pack that you could think of. I want to know how many different pairs of clothes you had. I want to know how many underwear, how many socks. I'm serious, and people will be very interested to hear this.
I'm trying to think of because what I had in the beginning versus what I had at the end are obviously different.
Yeah, because I'm sure that you got rid of some shit over the time that, like, so did you bring things that you didn't need?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For a week, I carried a bunch of extra stuff that I didn't need retrospectively.
Yeah.
But, when you get to your first hostel, you usually have a pack shakedown by others. And
right here.
Okay. You usually have a pack shakedown by, the hostel owner or others who are there. And
What does that mean?
They sort of you give them your stuff and they sort of just independently examine what you have and they determine what you need and what you don't need.
Wait. This was at a hostel.
Yeah.
And this is a service for people that are going to hike on the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, it's just a place to stay. Like the hostel owner can offer a shakedown.
Oh, wow.
For free, or anybody who's there, you can just ask, like, "Hey, can you look over my equipment?"
Is this this is before you go on the
No,
trip?
this is like 10 days in.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
Well, actually, and before too, because the hostel I stayed at before I left, it was in Millinocket, Maine. It's called the Appalachian Trail Lodge. The owners there will do a shakedown for you.
Oh, wow.
So I did one before and one during.
That's so interesting. I feel like that's a good that's a good reassurance to have that. So you have this in the beginning. Now proceed. I'm sorry. I interrupt people.
No, you're good.
And I'm very sorry. If I get tangential, I'm very sorry.
So my tent, I have the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Durango 2. Awesome tent. It says it's 3 seasons. I use it during the middle of winter in the Smokies, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
There's a little condensation, but it still works.
Yeah.
My sleeping bag, I have the Feathered Friends Flicker. So it's not it says it's a sleeping bag, but it's neither that nor a quilt. It's both.
Yeah.
It has the adjustable footbox of a quilt. It can zip all the way down like a quilt. But it doesn't have the hood of a sleeping bag.
It does not have a hood of a sleeping bag. So the weather of you hiking, is it all, warmer weather? Or are you getting into like cold weather?
Oh no, I hiked through feet of snow in the Smokies. So like going southbound, you have the benefit of fleeing in the warmer weather, but by the time I got to the Smokies, it was snow.
Oh, wow.
So that's something you have to deal with. And I like colder weather personally.
Yeah, I do too. I fare better at it. I'm built for it. But so you have this shakedown, and you have that Hyperlite. You got the sleeping quilt. I've never heard of that. It's interesting, but go ahead.
My sleeping pad was a Thermos X-Therm, which is rated for winter. I brought it during the summer, stupidly enough, and I sweat myself to sleep every night.
Yeah.
So maybe I thought it was because of the sleeping pad originally, and I thought about getting rid of it, but it was probably due to the temperature because it was 80 to 100 degrees every day with humidity, and at night it was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah,
so it was probably the humidity was the killer.
And your body's just probably ripping the whole time through night, just burning calories and shit.
So
that's going to be a big talk after this about food, but I'm curious.
Oh, you'll love this. I do it completely differently than everybody else, so your mind's about to be blown.
I'm excited about it. Now, as far as did you have any sort of protection with you,
like firearms or
anything,
like
firearm, knife thing?
I mean, obviously I carried a knife. I had trekking poles with me.
Okay, but like nothing else. I mean, like really, like I have a friend from high school. She hiked a good majority of the trail, but it's just like I asked her. I was like, Joe, like, do you have anything that like I don't know, what if there's creeps on there or something like that? But I feel like it's a valid question.
Yeah, no, that is a valid question. But I mean,
Roll
I'm sure
the
there's
dice.
some weird people out there, but
Probably just
for the most
misunderstood.
part, I think you'll be fine with everything that you have. If you have trekking poles, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Because the ends are sharp usually when you first get them.
Yeah.
And obviously they could be whatever length you want them to be. So you can keep
good
people
point.
at a distance.
That's a good point. Okay. So, all right, go ahead with the rest of the pack.
I have the pack itself was a Hyperlite Mountain Gear North Rim. That's their just, little brand name. It was designed for the the Rim to Rim Trail in the Grand Canyon. It's designed for desert environments.
Yeah.
But I like the style and look of it, so I picked it. What else do I have?
Now, did you buy all this shit pretty much in like, did you start to acquire camping gear before you knew you were going to hike the trail?
No. I had
so that
nothing before the trail.
Well, the reason that I was going to ask that is like, obviously the things that you bought, you were focusing to be like the best, the lightest, and like the most efficient, right?
I would, it's nice to have things that are lightweight, but I think a lot of people forget the fact of comfortability and function.
Yeah.
Like they'll sacrifice so little weight, but at the expense of so much comfort.
Yeah.
Is my thing. So I wasn't like, ultra light like some people are, but
yeah.
I mean, my pack usually probably weighed, depending how much food I stuffed in it, like 28 to 30 pounds.
Oh, that's
maybe
not
32
bad at all.
At the most.
That's not bad at all. I expected it to be like around 40 maybe.
No.
But okay. So, now I'm curious, why choose to sleep in a tent rather than like a hammock or anything like that? Because I know that's like a big...
Yeah, no, that's a debate, I guess, in the hiker community, which one's better. Both are very suitable.
Yeah.
It obviously depends on where you are. That's a good question. I guess I just prefer the tent.
Okay, that makes sense. Because whenever I go camping, I was a Boy Scout for 11 years. I tented for that whole time, and then whenever I became an adult and I started to see people using hammocks, I switched to a hammock, and I just thought it was so much more comfortable. But I guess you have like the pros and cons of all that. In a tent, you have shelter, but that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it just depends. This is completely personalized.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so what else you got in there?
I'm trying to think. You're putting me on the spot here.
I know, but don't feel any sort of pressure on this. I'm gonna dig all this. So like, let me help you out. What size camel pack did you have in your bag?
Camel pack?
Like a water bladder.
Oh, I didn't have a water bottle. I just carried water bottles, and I started out with
holy shit.
Because I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the bladder.
Yeah.
But originally I had 4 water bottles, so 4 liters of water.
Yeah, 4 liters of them.
But early on in my little trip, I was like, I don't drink 4 liters. So I just you just adjust as you go.
Absolutely. It has to be. But you started out with 4 liters, and you
you can start out with whatever, but I figured, there are stretches, actually I don't know about early on, but I just filled up water whenever available, and I was like, I don't drink that much water, so
Did you have was it pretty easy access to refill water bottles?
Yeah, there's water sources everywhere, especially in Maine, New Hampshire. They're everywhere.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I was not sure about that. If you had so did you carry like a filtration?
Yeah, no, I carried a water filter with me. It's screwed onto the top of my water bottles.
Oh, okay.
So it's called the Sawyer squeeze filter.
Yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is. I have one that's a little pump.
Yeah,
that it's crazy. Like the technology that they came up with. I was just the last time we did a packing trip. I never used like the water filter like that, and I was just squeegeeing water out of a puddle basically with some like running water through it, and I'm just like, this is wild. Like, hopefully I don't die.
Yeah. It's an industry now compared to when our parents were growing up, and they just grab a metal frame backpack and jeans.
That's literally what it is, a metal frame backpack. Like with Boy Scouts, that's what we were using whenever I was like 11. We had this like aluminum shitty metal frame bag with like, and I had like my dad's army issue sleeping bag that's like 4 inches thick, like cotton. I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, my dad still has his A-frame metal backpack in his basement, or in our basement, I should say.
Ridiculous. It's funny though, because now we have all this great things. But okay, so 4 water bottles. Now, what about lighting? Like headlamps?
Yeah, I have a headlamp. It was 400 lumens.
And that's like that's pretty sufficient.
Yeah, that's more than sufficient. It's for storm conditions, so it would be perfect.
Yeah, and what else would you need on there? Are you carrying any sort of like what sort of fire making materials do you have? You have a flint and steel, or are you just like you have lighters?
I had a lighter in the beginning.
Yeah, but did you light fires along the way? Really?
Not by myself, but when I was with people, I did.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's probably just easier to, not have to worry about that every single night.
Yeah.
What other kind of stuff do you have in there? Like toiletries?
Yeah, you have toiletries. I had baby wipes, toilet paper.
Yeah.
I had a trowel because you have to dig cat holes to put your waste in.
And as you're doing all this, like, do you have any sort of like other extra things like luxuries or anything like that? Like I saw one guy brought a Rubik's Cube. One guy brought like something weird that you don't necessarily need for camping. I'm sure you had a notebook and notepad, things like that.
Yeah, I had I was originally journaling, but that, I decided to stop doing it later on just because it was too much detail and to fill in the day. Like I kid you, I could show you, I have the journals in my room. Some days were 10 to 15 pages long. That's for one day.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I can handle this.
Yeah. I mean, every single day of you like detailing what you want to do.
And there's, surprisingly enough, some days there's not a lot of stuff that happens either. Like your days just sort of blend together because, mostly it's just walking in the woods by yourself or with a group. Do you have, what about first aid? What did you have in your pack for first aid? I had leukotape, obviously. What else did I have? I had a leukotape. I had scissors. I honestly forget what I had at first. But, various first aid things. I had, leukotape to repair, equipment or any blisters I got. I think I had. Did you deal with that in the beginning? Blisters? Yeah. Some, it wasn't, crazy. It's not like I had blisters the size of this cap. It was minor, small little ones. Okay. Now, what as far as like clothes and like pairs of things did you have in the beginning? Oh, I had so many clothes in the beginning. Did you? Funny. Yeah, I had so many socks and underwear. It was unbelievable. Like if you had to guess, how many? Like I probably had like 6 or 7 pairs of socks and 6 or 7 pairs of underwear. And that's one of the first things I got rid of. I was like, I'm not going to use these as often. Yeah, like they're going to be dirty regardless. Yeah. You're immediately going to put on a clean pair and you're stinking, like it's just and a luxury item I did bring, I brought a book. It's called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Oh, wow. So, but I was planning to read it, as everything. Oh, I planned to do this and it doesn't happen. That's what happened. I didn't read it. You didn't read it the whole time you were on there? 7 months? Did you? No, I got rid of it within the first, when I had my first shakedown. When I was, like, brother, I came take this book out of here. 100-mile wilderness, I got rid of it because I wasn't using it. Yeah. They're pretty much like, if you haven't touched it within the last 3 days, get rid of it. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's interesting to think about. Now, are you like someone who is getting detailed down to like ounces where you're cutting off like the extension of your toothbrush? No. Okay. I did do that, but I don't count ounces that much. Yeah, but like there's some people that are like that crazy. Yeah, they're like, oh, I need to shave off 1 ounce to. And they're extreme about it. I feel like that's too much pressure for me. I feel, if it's I think it's unnecessary because you're getting rid of function for what, lightweight. Yeah. Yeah. A little nub of a toothbrush. Yeah. That makes sense. Now, are you brushing your teeth every day? That depends if you run out of toothpaste or not. There's some days like, yeah, I was like, I ran out of toothpaste. I have to wait until I get down to do it. Yeah, and like you have all these clothes and you start to like dwindle down over the time. Like, what as far as like things to keep warm with? Like, are you bringing like do you have like what other type of clothes did you bring? Like I had sleeping wear, like stuff I exclusively wore to sleep. Oh, okay. But obviously my blow up mattress and my sleeping bag played a part in that too. Yeah. So like I had other jackets that I sent home, but when I got to Pennsylvania, I reacquired them because I was going into winter. Okay. So that makes sense. I didn't need them early on, but I had extra stuff for me. Did you have rain gear? Yeah, I had rain gear. Yeah. I had a rain kilt and then a rain jacket. So they have like kilts that are just like made for camping and they have a bunch of different ones? Yeah, I had the ULA rain wrap. It just, wow. It just wraps around the top of your waist. And that is unreal. I went with that because I don't like rain pants because I overheat them. Yeah, absolutely. So, man, I feel like I've been doing it wrong my whole life. Yeah. I really don't worry, I'll teach you the ways. Yeah, it's like it makes so much more sense. So, now, what about like? Did you have any sort of like any like other like saws or hatchets or anything like that? I didn't carry that stuff with me. Some people did, but again, this is extremely personalized. I didn't see that as important. Yeah, but some people are like, oh, I need a hatchet or I need X to, Now, your first day. Okay, now we'll get to food. Let's go to, before we get hiking, I want to know, in the beginning, what did you take for food? All right. So my strategy my thought before I started, I was like, okay, I need to eat high fat things because it's a long-term energy source. It keeps me satiated, etc.
Yeah.
So early on, it wasn't, as refined it was later on, but I ate peanut butter and nuts. But then when I got to my first hostel, I acquired cheese. So I ate blocks of cheese. Like I would carry 8 in my food bag at a time,
8 blocks of cheese.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would carry, nut butter, as I said, sunflower seed is my favorite butter. But I would eat things like, avocados, carrots, celery, hummus, kimchi, sauerkraut. I would bring that stuff out.
Anything that's not perishable.
So,
really.
but I would eat those immediately. But, and that's how I got the name Whole Foods. It's because I would carry that stuff out. But most people will just eat rice, ramen, Idaho and potatoes, that sort of stuff. Because it's light. But to me, I don't really see a great nutritional value in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
Now, I mean, are you on any sort of did you change your eating habits going up to hiking at all?
No. Specifically, why I did this is because I wanted to translate how I eat, I guess we'll call it in civilization, and transfer that cleanly over to, eating while hiking. Just because you're out for a hike doesn't give you an excuse to eat like crap, in my mind. So I wanted to keep, what I was eating standardized.
So before you hiked, you genuinely ate kind of like that, healthier like that?
Yeah, I eat like that usually, and I just wanted to transfer that over.
Okay. So. That's interesting. Now, how much did you bring in the beginning? Did you bring a lot in the beginning, or do you...
are we talking about food?
Yeah, food.
When I first started out, I climbed Mount Katahdin, which was one of the hardest mountains to climb on the AT. I did it first. It took me 10 hours to climb the whole thing.
How many miles?
It's 10 miles,
but it's
3 miles of it is pure rock climbing.
Wow.
Hand over hand rock climbing. Yeah, every step you take, the rocks get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Just Google it. It was, a little terrifying in the moment, but it was one of the most epic mountain climbs of the whole trip. That was my first day. But after
that was your first day?
Yeah. That's most people's end point. And they usually, mountain goat up that mountain in 2 hours, up and down.
Jesus.
Because they're, they've done.
Yeah, their bodies.
They've done almost 2,200 miles at that point. They're like, this is easy.
Yeah.
But immediately after that, I have there's an area of the trail called the 100-Mile Wilderness. I previously mentioned it. It's obviously 100-mile stretch of wilderness where there's no resupply point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but luckily
that was in the beginning, you said?
That was in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
For me, before I started, I got a resupply drop for the middle of it. So I carried 5 days worth of food in the beginning, and then I had another 5 days worth of food, and then I got to my hostel.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense. And it took you 10 days to get through the 100-mile?
It took me 7 days to get through it.
Okay.
So within my first week, I was at a hostel, and I find everything there.
So obviously you start this crazy mountain climbing and everything like that. How's your body holding up from the beginning?
Oh, the first day, oh boy, I was sore after that. I woke up, I couldn't even sit up. I was so sore. I felt like Mike Tyson came to me in my sleep and beat the crap out of me. Every inch of my body hurt.
It's interesting because it's at that point in time, that's I'm sure anyone that starts and does anything like that, it's almost discouraging. It's you're so sore. You're how am I going to do another fucking, full, months of this?
That's what I said. I was I still have to walk 10 miles today. Oh.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, I mean, do you have a ledger of miles of how many your goal is to do this in a certain time frame? Did you have a time frame in the beginning, or you just...
No, I was okay, whenever I finish it.
Wow.
So it took me 7 months to finish it too.
Yeah. That's
to the date. I said earlier, I started on February 13th. I finished
July 13th.
I started on July 13th and I finished on February 13th.
Oh, wow. 7 monthly to the day. That's incredible. Now, are you keeping contact with your mother? Is she losing her mind and stuff like that?
They're okay, if you do this, you need to call us once a week.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. No, but I still called them whenever I got to places because they had a map of the whole Appalachian Trail and they pinned spots along the way.
Oh, that's really
to just,
cool.
Indicate my little progress.
That's awesome, man. That's so, I mean, like, so your mindset going into this, like, you know, it's the day before you're about to go start this whole hike. Like, are you like losing your mind as far as like, do I have this? Do I have that? Like, am I ready to go? Or are you just like ready?
I was ready to get out there. I was just, obviously I was a little nervous, but I was like, you know what? I'll
figure it out
when it happens.
Now, I keep thinking in my mind, like, oh my God, once you leave, there's no contact for 7 months. But I keep forgetting that, like, you're going, you know, there's places, there's resupply points, watering holes, like things like that. So it's kind of like if you wanted to get out and.
Yeah, if you want to get out, you can get out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of hostels, and the infrastructure around the Appalachian Trail is significant.
Now, through your 7 months there, like, how many times do you think you slept indoors?
I mean, I would say I stopped at a lot of the hostels. I mean,
but not anything like super.
Yeah, it's not like significant. It's not like, oh, I spent, you know, most of my trip in the hostel. It's like, no.
Now
I spent a little bit inside because obviously, you know, you need to relax.
Oh, yeah.
Take a rest day.
Absolutely.
Enjoy other people's company.
Now, are you hiking every single day, or are you taking like some days?
No, we took some days off.
Oh, okay.
So there's a reason why I took us 7 months. We just wanted to enjoy the journey. There's no point in rushing through this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was curious about, because I didn't know if you were like, oh, I want to get it done in X amount of days, so I got to do this amount of time. Now, obviously, did you have any sort of like injuries throughout the...
Like significant injuries?
I mean, injuries enough where it like, you fucked up your ankle and it took you like a week. You had to take a week off.
I didn't have any injuries like that. I had like, you know, blisters, cuts, bruises, obviously soreness, but minor stuff. I haven't had anything significant.
That's
but
great.
I know people who tore their deep calf muscle.
Just
by stepping on a rock the wrong way. Someone broke their arm because they fell down the stairs.
Yeah, Now, did you experience a lot of rain while you were hiking?
No. Early on, I guess the whole eastern seaboard, especially in the New England area, was in a drought. So I got sunshine.
Really?
Time.
Wow, that's great. And I mean, now along the way, I'm sure you met a bunch of different people that were hiking. Yeah. Was there a lot of people on the trail?
I mean, going my direction, there was, because I'm seeing all the northbounders who, you know, were actually able to finish. And there's very few southbounders to begin with anyways. Most people go northbound.
So you are starting off and you're seeing people that are finishing up.
Yeah.
All raggedy.
Yeah. I like on my second day, I meet someone named Dirt Nap and Whiskey. They're like, oh, we're just going to do 32 miles to Mount Continental. I was like, oh my God. Like, how are these people doing it?
Yeah.
So.
Wow. It's
just weird to see people who were finishing their journey, and then when I was finishing, I was seeing people who were just starting theirs. So I got both perspectives, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's because you're finishing at their beginning.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I thought that was like it was really cool to be on both sides of the.
Absolutely. So I mean, you're doing on average. Do you have an average of how many days or how many miles a day you're doing?
15 to 18 was probably our average. That's which I find that the perfect range.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's doable for sure. Yeah. And it's not like, you're not redlining the whole time. Are you hiking with people along the way that you picked up with?
I started off alone, but early on.
How long were you alone?
I mean, I would say probably half my trip, really.
Now, are you someone that like, was this scary for you at all?
No, I mean, I wasn't personally scared, but obviously, it takes there's a bit of an adjustment when
100%.
You're like sung in the woods and you're like, oh, it's night. I'm in my tent. I'm trying to sleep. There's a bit of, I guess, what you call it insecurity in the beginning, but you just sort of get over it eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, if you're in the woods for 3 weeks, like you're going to be like, I don't care what that snap is.
It's only like the toughest part's your first 2 weeks. If you can get through the first 2 weeks,
it's going to be.
It's a game of replication.
Yeah,
essentially.
Now, for you to, I'm sure that you're also like, dead tired every night that you're like ready to just like go in there and crash. How many hours a night do you think you're sleeping?
I would say 8. I would say.
Oh, really?
That's the standard. Yeah.
That's good. Now, generally, did you have like a comfortable sleeping? Like, were you comfortable in your things that you had?
Oh yeah, I was comfortable with the things I had. Obviously,
Yeah.
When it's humid and hot when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, you can't do nothing with that. I know, it's the worst. Yeah. I got to have my temperature on at like 63. I'd rather just have a bunch of blankets.
I freeze people out. It's awesome.
I know, it's the best. You can always put stuff on. You can only take so much off.
That's why I like being cold better. You can easily warm yourself up compared to being hot, which is hard.
Million percent. But that was always the worst thing. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to go camping in summertime. And I'm like, God, it's going to be fucking muggy.
You got mosquitoes. It's still going to be hot at night. No,
worst.
Winter camping.
Now, in the beginning, are you to kind of, before you were able to adjust, like how are you portioning your food? Like, are you like specific about that? Like, I'm only going to have like this much of this, so you can kind of like lengthen it.
Yeah, like the stuff, like the blocks of cheese I had was nice because they're already pre-packaged. So it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a lot of the stuff I had was already divided into, specific groups.
Yeah.
Like, so the packaging and
what was a typical meal for you for like in the morning? Like, I want to know your day. Like, you wake up, like, were you someone who drank coffee before this?
No.
Oh, really?
I prefer, water and tea over coffee. I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
Well, that's good for you. I always wondered what people are doing that love coffee.
Usually I would just wake up, pack up and go. I don't like hiking on a full stomach personally. Yeah. I just ate all my stuff at the end of the day, essentially.
Ah, okay.
But a lot of people, they make breakfast, they, deconstruct camp and they go and then they stop for lunch and then they go again and they stop at, wherever they're camping for the night, eat, and then go to sleep. I just ate all my stuff at the end of the day. I just found it more convenient. And that's the way I do it here too. I just like, I'm just going to eat everything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
now, you getting ready to go hiking and things like that. It's like, are you like waking up and, looking at your map and you're like, all right, I'm going to try to get to this point today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I would sort of like approximate where I wanted to go. I was like, this amount of miles.
Did you ever want to quit it all through this?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Oh, there's days there's one particular moment where I wanted to quit, but there's days I was like, oh,
how close? How far was that moment where you were like,
it was early on. It was, I was climbing a mountain called Little Broad Man Mountain, something along those lines. And, it was a hot, humid day. My friends just left to go to a hostel. I was hot, sweaty, climbing up this steep hill. I was like, why am I doing this? And I sort of, sat down and, calmed down. I realized I was like, what else am I going to be doing besides hiking this trail? Everyone's locked inside essentially.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
This is the best alternative I have right now. God. So I gave myself like a mental slap in the face. Like, you're doing this no matter what.
I didn't even think about the whole idea of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. So, yeah. What else is there to do?
I was planning to do it in December, obviously before, the pandemic happened. And even when it was going on, I was like, I don't care what the optics look like. I'm still doing it.
Yeah. Wow. So, Jesus.
But a lot of people got off due to that reason.
Yeah.
So when I went to Rowan Mountain, Tennessee, they have a board there. I went to a hostel called Station ITE, awesome place. They have a board there with all the hikers that come through and they give them numbers. When I went there, that time last year, they had 1,800. When I got there, I was 310.
Really? So that little?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Because you would think if you're out on the trail, it's like, you're not going to be, that exposed to, this virus. I would think so, right?
Yeah. It's messed up a lot of people's trip. A lot of people got off for that reason. I don't know why, but
that's interesting.
Because you're in the safest place possible.
Yeah.
Or I thought I was. I was like, I'm already around a select group.
Yeah,
no matter what, at all times.
Yeah, and you're not in a Walmart with 75 people getting groceries and shit.
I don't know. I people got off for that reason, and obviously, when the Northbounders were starting their trip and it was March, the Smoky shut down, the Shenandoah shut down, and so there are some survival stories about people just going through there.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that. How much money did you take with you in the beginning?
I probably had $10,000. Like 10 to 12, I would say, is my range.
Now, how much did you spend through your whole trip?
I did the spreadsheet math on this. I spent $9,068.93, but I also spend 2 to 4 times more on food than other people because I buy cheese, nut butter.
Yeah, you're not buying ramen.
Foods.
Yeah, you're not buying ramen.
I'm not buying ramen, which is 50 cents a pack.
Oh, wow. So what else were you spending money on? Like, some of the hostels, I'm sure you had to pay for?
Yeah, so I spent, we'll call it 50%. I spent like 48% on food. I think 24% on staying in hostels, and then like 16% on buying new equipment. That I didn't have. Like I bought micro spikes and gaiters because I didn't have them.
What is micro spikes? Them little things that go on the bottom of your cleats?
Yeah, they're just devices that can go around your shoe.
Yeah.
To give you traction on ice. And they usually have like metal spikes. On them.
You used one pair of boots the whole time?
No. So early on, my first 400 miles, I blew through 2 pairs of Ultra Lone P 4.5s. I said, all right, screw this. I'm not getting another pair of these. They just broke down really quickly.
Really?
Yeah. Even though,
in 400 miles.
Yeah, 2.
Wow.
Even though, everyone says the most popular trail in the Appalachian Trail. That's what REI told me. And I was like, these things don't last. I'm getting new ones. So when I got to Lincoln, New Hampshire, I got a new pair of shoes. They're a Hoka 11 Toa. It's like they say it's a hiking boot, but I think it's more of a hybrid between a hiking boot and a trail runner. So I went with that, and it lasted me all the way until Hampton, Tennessee. Over 1,500 miles. And then I switched to boots. Yeah.
Wow. So, you switched to boots for the winter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And now, was there other things that you had to buy along the way that you were like, shit, I don't know why I didn't bring this? Like anything?
Like the gaiters and micro spikes.
What's a gaiter? Like on the legs?
It's just like, it just covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just covers. There's a strap that goes on the bottom of your shoe, and then
it covers the front.
You can Velcro the top, near your knee or wherever.
Why did you buy them? For what reason?
To get the snow. Prevent snow from coming into my shoes and socks and whatnot.
So that was towards the end in Tennessee.
Yeah, that was towards the end.
Okay.
So, but people wear them in the summer because they don't want dirt and debris in their shoes.
Yeah. Did you have to worry about ticks at all?
I only had 2 ticks crawl on me.
Really?
The whole trip. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty great.
So,
any sort of now, did you have any close calls with any wildlife at all?
No, I would say no. The closest I ever got to wildlife, I was following a porcupine when I was in Pennsylvania. I saw a black bear, but he was a ways away, and I saw the back of his ears. I was like, oh, let's see if I can get a different angle on him. But he was gone within 30 seconds. But then I was walking down the trail, and I see this porcupine walking down the trail. I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he sort of turns around and acknowledges me too, and he just starts walking a little faster, and I start walking a little faster. And so eventually, as we're walking, he keeps looking back, but eventually he just veers off to the right.
Yeah.
And, we go our separate ways.
My cousin that was riding the bike across there, he claimed to never use a light the entire time. He stopped biking before the sunset. He would put up camp, but the one day he said he did like 100 and some miles up a mountain, and he's a beast for sure.
Wow!
But he said that he was in like a drainage ditch pretty much on the side of the road. He never slept indoors at all, and he woke up because a bear was there, and he didn't get attacked or anything, or it wasn't that close of a call, but he knew that there was a bear, so he ended up just having to wake up middle of the night and get going.
Oh yeah, that happens to a lot of people. Like when I was in New York near Bear Mountain, there was a shelter I was going to go to. It was called West Mountain Shelter, but I stopped like a mile before. That night there was a 400-pound black bear that went through camp.
Holy shit!
And other people have crazy encounters. One guy named Tex, his little trail name or nickname. He was in, I believe, the Shenandoahs, and at 10 o'clock at night, there's these guys come in, and then they're like, because he's like, some people come into camp late, but later on they smell bacon.
Wow!
They're making bacon at 10 o'clock at night. They're like, oh, you want some? They're like, hell yeah, I want some. So everyone's enjoying the bacon and the other food they brought, but at 1 o'clock in the morning, their camp gets raided by bears. Bears are ripping packs off from the shelters, dragging people's tents away, dragging their packs away. People are running into the woods.
That's ridiculous.
So, there's wild stuff that happens like that.
Absolutely.
None of that stuff happened to me.
You have any snakes? Do you see any snakes?
I only saw one rattlesnake when I was...
Only one?
Only one.
Wow.
Because I didn't have to deal with them. By the time I got to Pennsylvania and New York, they were all gone.
That's a good point.
But I just saw him sunbathing, and he sort of hissed at me, and we sort of acknowledged each other, and I was like, yeah, you going to move there? And I sort of stood there for like 30 seconds. I was like, I'm just going to go around you.
Now, along the trail, do they have like lean-to shelters?
Yeah, they just have like wooden structures.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Did you use them a lot?
Yeah, that's what I, sort of use as indications for miles. Like, okay, I can come here.
That's interesting. So that's pretty cool. Now, so I know I'm asking you this. Portion this out for me. So at the end of the day of like a long hike, like what is a meal for you? Like, are you drinking like, how much water are you drinking?
Like I usually drink like 2 liters at a day.
Okay.
I'm thinking I'm trying my normal food schedule. Like it was just like, cheese and nut butters, as I said earlier. That's pretty much what those are my main staples.
You eating like a brick of cheese?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
So
is there
it's a sight to see, to say the least.
Now throughout there, are you able to are you stopping to have like a good meal every once in a while?
Yeah, like I can stop in towns and eat there.
And shower and kind of clean up and everything.
Do laundry and relax.
Wow. See, that's so, I would love to do it your way rather than like the way where people are, I'm all on ramen and like I'm trying to get it done as quick as possible. Essentially you're just on a backpacking trip, as long as you want. It's cool that you did this during, I know you planned it beforehand, but the fact that the pandemic was happening and the world kind of like stopped, it was a perfect time to be able to like, be out there and doing it. It's like,
yeah, it was nice being out there. I don't have to worry about, anything going on in the news or the chaos that's ensuing, all the toilet paper being gone.
I know. That's insane.
I want to find the person who took all the toilet paper and just slap them across the face.
Did you have to worry about that? Like, was there any point in time that you could not find toilet paper?
No, I didn't have to worry about that.
I'm
already in remote places as it is.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what's the most you hiked in one day?
32 miles.
32?
Yeah, but we did it under a special set of circumstances. The people I was with. We did it in one of the easiest sections to do it. We're just from essentially the Tennessee-Virginia border to Hampton, Tennessee, to a place called Boots Off Hostel. That's where we did it.
Yeah.
And we also didn't have all of our equipment. We were slack packing. It's like you essentially give your stuff, most of your stuff to someone. You just bring the essentials like water, food, what you need for the day, and then they pick you up at a designated spot and take you back to like a place of residency and shelter.
That's awesome.
So
that's cool though. That's cool though. So you were able to do things like that.
Yeah.
Now, what did I just have in my mind that I wanted to know? Oh, if you're out there and you're camping in the snow, did that have was that difficult at all, or were you pretty all right?
I was
with
fine.
That?
The sleeping pad I mentioned earlier and the sleeping bag I had, it was rated for 15 degrees, and my sleeping pad was rated for winter too.
Oh,
so I was carrying with my winter stuff.
What's like the coldest temperature that it got to?
19 degrees.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But there was a good bit of snow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, your mindset in the beginning of the hike compared to like where you're at, are you sort of getting this like, calloused mindset throughout it? Like where, can you feel yourself like, can you feel your mindset like changing along the way?
Yeah. You can definitely notice a callousing or like a hardening effect.
Yeah.
I thought it. So
now, are you, are you able to describe that in any way? Like which way, like, how are you feeling this? Or as far as like, this isn't as hard for me to do, or you being able to like, shut out any sort of the negative and, I don't want to like any sort of like, I want to quit attitude. Like, did you lose that completely?
Yeah. Like that. I only really questioned myself at one point. I was like, you know what? I'm doing this. I got no better alternative. And I didn't question myself from then. Wow. But obviously, going southbound, the reason why so few people do it is because you start off in the hardest terrain first. Maine and New Hampshire are the hardest states.
So why do people want to do that at the end?
Good question. I don't know, but they're beautiful states regardless.
Yeah.
It's just the traditional way to go from Georgia to Maine. But, I told myself, I was like, okay, if I can get out of Maine, New Hampshire, I can finish this.
Yeah.
And obviously, I struggled along the way. I got my ass kicked multiple times a day, every day. But, it's the struggles that give you clarity, focus, drive, and energy, I thought.
Yeah. That makes a good bit of sense. This is a weird question, but in the 10 years of me being in Boy Scouts, I've never grown accustomed to shitting in the woods. Was that did you get good at that at the end?
Yeah. I mean, I did that a fair bit, but there's also privvies along the way at shelters and whatnot.
That's good. So. It's such an interesting I can't believe that was your first overnight experience, and that turned into a 7-month trip.
Yeah. I could sit here and all day and talk about this.
I mean, it's incredible to even think about it. It's like, so what was your favorite experience out there? Like favorite place to be and your least favorite place to be?
All right. So my least favorite place is probably the mid-Atlantic states, like Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. Yeah. It's just, the terrain's not too bad, but there's not a lot to see.
Yeah.
But my favorite places are, if you maybe narrow it down to two, I would say Maine and New Hampshire are my favorite places.
Yeah.
Even though the terrain is extremely difficult, but the views are so worth it up there. It's gorgeous.
I bet. Are you finding like bodies of water along the way to like hop into and everything?
Oh yeah. When I was in the 100-mile wilderness, I jumped in several lakes that were there.
Nice. So. That's incredible. Wow. What an interesting like experience.
Yeah. It's hard to, people are like, oh, how was your little trip? It's hard to compress 7 months worth of memories into like a few sentences.
I get it. I mean, I definitely get it. I mean, I understand that, I've only went on like, my longest was like a 4-day hike or 4-night hike. And, we went a good bit of miles, but like that seems like such like a chapter of time, just that because you're cut away from that. Like, are you someone who is, I know you said you were a video game guy, but are you someone that was kind of like had your hooks into like, the like social media, things like that in the beginning? Like, did you do that in the beginning? Did you have like, were you like active on Instagram and Facebook and like, were you like a sociable person in the beginning?
What do you mean? Did I post on social media? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, like, yeah, like, were you someone who was just like, kept to yourself? Like the way I'm trying to word the question is like, were you a people person beforehand?
Oh, yeah. I love talking. That's the best part of the trail was talking to people that are there.
Now, I mean, do you get lonely on the trail?
I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with being by myself, even though, I probably went a month just by myself, just waltzing around. I had no problems with it.
That you went a month without like seeing people? Well,
yeah, not with seeing people. I was just traveling by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problems with traveling by myself or with a group of people.
Did you ever get lost at all?
Not like, no, it's not like I went miles in the wrong direction. Like maybe I went like 100 feet in the wrong direction. I had to turn around.
Oh, really?
Nothing significant.
Oh, the last hike we went on, we went like 6.5 miles in the wrong direction. My. And my buddy was like, oh yeah, right here, there's going to be a trail that we can get right up to the car. 6.5 miles the wrong direction, had to turn around. It was just, I was miserable.
The worst feeling in the world.
I was sick whenever he told me. He was like, I think we made a mistake. And I was like, I'm going to die.
You're like, I'm ready to kill you on the
spot. Yeah, because I did. I was ready to kill him. Because there was like weird shit going on. We were in this, I think we were in, I don't know where the hell we were, but we were hiking in the middle of nowhere and there was a camp in this like ravine of these like guys, these strange looking men that had like tarps up, and I guess they had like it was like a fishing camp, but it was sketchy. There was some sketchy things going on because they had fish and everything going. It was just regular camp. They did not say anything to us. It was in the middle of nowhere. There was not a campsite there or anything. It was just very bizarre.
Yeah, I'm sure I ran across that stuff too. Like,
I know, and you're just like, did you come across any shady characters that you were like, oh, this is kind of bizarre?
No, I don't remember coming across anyone like, oh, I feel like I'm threatened right now.
Yeah, never the whole time. Wow,
so
that's interesting. Now, is this something that you would want to do again? Like, I know that you have plans.
It is, and I'm doing it again. Actually,
you're doing the Appalachian Trail?
No, I'm not doing the Appalachian Trail. I'm doing the Pacific Crest Trail.
Next. Okay, so that's what I want to get to next. So, this Appalachian Trail, like, do you think you'll do that again?
Not in the immediate future, but I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but overall, you loved it. It was a very great experience.
It's the best 7 months of my life so far. I would do that again in a snap.
And you took a lot of, you documented a lot of pictures and everything along the way.
Yeah.
Did I see something where you took a picture every day?
Yeah, I made a YouTube little collage of that.
Oh, wow.
I had the plan of doing that before. Obviously, I didn't take a picture of myself every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just forgot.
Yeah.
But, I sort of documented, my 7-month journey via selfies and,
Did you have a clean face whenever you went?
Oh, yeah. I clean shaved and I came out looking like a caveman. So
that's funny. So whenever you came home from this hike, what is the response from your family? Like, are they able to like understand what you just did?
I personally, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But, you know.
That's interesting to think about, though. I feel like it would be very difficult to explain that, you know, your life was in the woods for, 7 months.
They obviously joke around about it, but I feel like the only other group who can accurately articulate it is other people who have done it.
Yeah.
It's just that instant connection that you have because of it.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Like I have to summarize 7 months worth of experience in a few sentences or a few minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah. I don't think so either. But I think that so far you've done pretty well at describing, kind of a mindset of where it is. Yeah. Now, excuse me. So the Pacific Crest. Now, first of all, like, how long do you think that's going to take?
Probably 5 to 7 months. I'm not going to give a date like, I'll be home by.
No. I get that. But I mean, that's 400 miles longer than the Appalachian Trail, correct?
It's 2,650 miles.
Where will you start? I'm
starting in Campo, California. I can literally throw a rock at the border wall from where I will start.
And how did this come into your mind? Did you already think about this before?
Yeah, I already thought about this before.
Before you were done with the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah. While I was doing it, I was like, the Pacific Crest Trail is next.
Oh, wow.
So like there's 3 continental trails in the United States. There's the Appalachian Trail, which I've already done.
Yeah.
There's the Pacific Crest Trail, which I'm planning to do in April. And then there's something called the Continental Divide Trail. It runs through the middle. It starts at the New Mexico border, runs through New Mexico, Colorado, Yellowstone National Park, and it ends in Glacier National Park.
Wow.
So that's the third one. And if you do all
How long is that one?
They're all, it's long as the Pacific Crest Trail, like 2600 miles-ish. So if you do all 3 of those, you achieve a title called a Triple Crowner. It means you've done all 3 of those trails, and that's the title I'm going for, or I will get, I should say.
I love that.
So
you got done in February, like how did you decide you wanted to go in April? Is that like a time frame that you want to generally start out there? I thought about going southbound originally, but I met an individual in my first 2 weeks there. His name is Sage. He invited me to do the Pacific Crest Trail with him later on. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to do it with him?
Yeah. I'm doing it with him and his other friends.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, I mean, what is there a way to be able to kind of describe the terrain? Like, is the terrain going to be similar? Is there different?
Yeah. The first 700 miles is a desert.
Oh, really?
I'm walking through the Mojave Desert in the middle of summer. So that is something I've never done before.
Like, how are you going to prepare as far as, is there watering holes along the way there?
There is, but water is pretty limited. Obviously, it's a desert. Like you could get water here and be like, okay, your water's in 30 miles.
So how do you prepare for this? Like, are you doing it? What are you doing differently to prepare for this? Anything?
So instead of carrying plastic bottles, I have double-walled bottles. Just because I don't want to be drinking hot water in the desert. To me, that's demoralizing. Yeah. I got I shouldn't call it a bladder, but a bag that can hold 3 liters of water. Because I need to carry, an optimal amount of water.
A good bit, yeah.
Until the next water source. And I'm trying to think of other things they do differently. Other than that, no. Those are the only 2 things I'm really doing differently. I have shemagh to wrap around my head to prevent, sun exposure.
Wow.
I don't know really what else I'm doing differently besides that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's also going to be like kind of touch and go along the way. You're going to adapt. Is there as many opportunities for hostels and everything along the way that
it's not like the Appalachian Trail? Like on the Appalachian Trail, you can walk through the middle of the town. Everything on the Pacific Crest Trail is farther away in terms of distance, and it's also longer ways in the town.
Now, let me ask you this: you said that did you say that there was 1,800 people that hike the Appalachian Trail normally, and you were 310?
Yeah, like that hostel counted 1,800 last year. But
do you know numbers of like how many people on average hike the Appalachian Trail per year?
Probably 3,000 to 4,000 attempted going northbound, but less than 25% of them make it.
Now, no big deal or nothing.
Yeah, no big deal.
So the Pacific Crest, like, is that comparable? Like, is it that many people or is it less?
Yeah, it's like, I think 4,000 people are going northbound this year.
Oh, wow.
Or like 4,000 people total, I believe.
Now, do you have to, I know that there's like situations where if you want to go like go on a kayak trip, you have to like let rangers and everything know and like kind of like sign up for, what do they call it? Like
Permits.
permits and everything. Do you have to do something to let people know that you're going to be on this Appalachian Trail or any of these trails?
The Appalachian Trail, you don't need a permit for. You can just jump on and go.
Yeah.
But for the Pacific Crest Trail, you need, various permits, and the PTCA, the organization that takes care of the Pacific Crest Trail, they have a permit process, and it's sort of a bunch of permits bundled into one.
Now, what's like kind of describe what that is? Do you have to fill out a bunch of shit, or is this
It's just like an online application, but it's first come, first serve.
Is it thorough?
I mean, it's just pretty much your name, your email,
and you could
it's
die.
like basic
it's not
information.
Our fault.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, so you said they only get a limited amount. Like they limit the amount of people that could do that.
Yeah.
Do you know how many?
I don't know how many people, but like on the first day that became available, there was over 12,000 people that applied. It crashed the website.
Shit.
And it was hours. You would wait hours just to get your opportunity to even get a permit.
What could people even do if you just hop on there and go?
I mean, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's not people like, hey, let me see your papers. Yeah.
I mean, supposedly that happens, but I'm sure you can, maneuver ways around that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
just pretend you're sick and they won't touch you.
Yeah. Just like, now, the conversation throughout, your hike on the AT, it's like, does COVID get brought up?
No.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's not non-existent, but
it's
in
removed.
our realm,
it's removed.
Yeah, it's removed. To people who hike it, it's not that big of an issue.
Wow. That's it's so like weird because obviously anytime you look around here or anything like that, I'm sure that no one's wearing fucking masks on the AT, and it's just interesting because you're removed from like this, this bias, gross, media based, world.
Yeah.
I love that though.
You can choose to pay attention to the news.
Yeah.
Compared to being locked inside your house all day long.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you watch. I mean, no wonder everyone's scared.
Yeah. Now, after you got off the hike, what did you do anything like to, celebrate? Did you have a meal? Did you, get hammered or something?
Oh, me and my friends celebrated on top of Mount Springer when it was done. And the photo that we took of our celebratory photo, or of our celebration, actually became a meme. Yeah. That was our celebration. We were all having cheers of Larceny whiskey in those small little
I saw
bottles.
that you said we made it on Snapchat. Yeah. What do you mean?
There's some guy who, I guess, reviews images that are, challenging to the brain. Like it looks like an optical
that
illusion.
Was you with the camouflage?
No, I wasn't the camouflage arm. I was the guy.
I know that, but that camouflage arm. Oh my God, that was your photo.
Yeah, that was our photo. That was not staged. I have the video of the celebration to prove it. That was a complete accident.
Oh my God, I seen that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was you. That's wow.
No, it was my friend Crash. He's the camouflage arm, but I'm the only person you can see in the photo, so I get, I guess, credit.
Yeah,
for this.
The camouflage arm though, they're saying like you can't tell me that there's 4 people holding this.
It's like my brain refuses to believe there's 4 people here, and you can see 3 arms, but your brain has trouble interpreting where the 4th arm is because the camouflage is just well placed.
Did you post that picture?
No, my friend named Pound, who finished before us, but we, hiked with him for a decent part.
Yeah.
He came back to see us summit on Springer. He took the picture, noticed the optical illusion, posted it on, I think, Confusing Perspectives on Reddit, and it took off from there.
Wow. So you, holy shit. So, wow, that's crazy that was you.
People, since I was the only one who's identifiable, they're like, oh, I had people randomly message me like, oh, we want to do an interview or we want to ask you a few questions.
Oh, really?
About this meme and, the little background about yourself.
Holy shit.
There's I have an email I have to respond to, but there's apparently a Japanese TV company who wants to use it for some game show that they're developing.
What a weird...
Yeah, it's just a weird little coincidence.
That's so strange.
Finished the Appalachian Trail, next day become a meme. So, it was interesting.
Ridiculous.
So, all my friends were messaging me like, oh my God, you made it. You're a meme now. I was like, oh, well, this happens. So.
That's crazy. I have to look at it again after this. Wow, that's so weird. So, what about a meal? Like, what was was there a meal that you had a hankering for that, like, you were, whether it's something like your family cooks or anything, you were like, man, like, I want this after I'm done. Anything like that?
Because I think my parents asked me that. They're like, all right, what do you want? I was like, I just want meat and vegetables right now.
Meat and vegetables.
Because, obviously, I'm not going to pack out like a head of cabbage
Yeah.
in my backpack. That's not worth the weight. So
That's pretty cool.
I wasn't craving anything, even though that's what happens to a lot of people. It's like, oh, I really want Oreos right now. And they think about it for days and then they get it.
My cousin who was riding the bikes, he was trying to live on $10 a day.
Oh my.
And he had to bump it up to 15, but he was strictly refueling with stuff that he found in the behind dumpsters of like Dollar Generals that were like Snickers bars that were like 1 day past the expiration date. He said he would be pedaling up mountains just shoving Snickers bars in his mouth because he was burning. Like, do you have any idea how many calories you were burning a day?
No, I have no idea.
He was saying that he was burning like over like I want to say he said like 1,500 a day, more than that maybe the number's wrong. Maybe he was burning 4,000.
We were probably in that range too. Like
yeah,
very high end.
I mean, what was the weight that you started at compared to what you finished at?
Well, I started at 210. And my lowest point, I got to 189. But by the end, I got back up to my normal weight.
Yeah, that's not too bad though.
I essentially lost no weight on this whole trail. But the two people I travel with, the guy whose name's Crash, he lost 70 pounds.
Well, I saw that big guy. He had the big red beard.
Yeah. He lost 70. And the gal I was traveling with, her name was Bash. And she lost 40 pounds. So it's like they were half of for themselves.
Wow.
So, but that's why like cheese and nut butters, because they're high in fat and protein. So I burn my fat reserves, but when I eat that, it replenishes it.
Can you feel a difference in your body from when you started to where you're at now?
Yeah,
yeah, I bet. You probably feel like a fucking
my lower
goat.
body is the lower body of a god, pretty much. It's ripped. So
like a mountain goat.
Yeah, pretty much. So
that's
everything's just well defined.
Are your feet destroyed?
No.
Oh wow.
My feet are fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have any big problem with that.
Man, that is incredible. So the Pacific Crest, this is starting in April.
Yeah, April 14th.
April 14th is when you're going.
Yeah.
So this is like in a couple weeks.
I'm leaving on April 14th. I'm not flying. I'm actually taking a train from Washington, D.C., where I'll be meeting with the people, like my group, and we'll be traveling via train to San Diego.
And so you have same size pack?
Yeah, I'm bringing everything over again. With a few,
What
additions.
are you bringing now? Your additions, like what are you bringing now that you didn't bring then?
Double walled, I guess, water bottles or metal bottles.
Yeah, and that's big 3 liter, that big 3 liter thing, that Shemog.
Yeah. I found cashmere clothing at thrift stores, and so that's what I'm bringing with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I probably found over $700 worth of cashmere at thrift stores.
I know people just
$20.
throw it away.
Yeah, it's
people
so
just
soft.
throw it away.
So because it's 8 times. Or it's like, I heard 6 to 8, but it's at least 6 times warmer than wool, and it's lighter and it's stronger.
And it feels better too.
And it feels better. So I was going to use that.
Yeah. Does it have the same aspect of, could still warm whenever it's moist? Like,
warm whenever. I believe so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I just knew that, that was what they.
So yeah.
I remember that's the same shit we were talking about before. Like our parents, like I remember whenever I was like young going camping, I had these like thick ass shitty wool hunting socks. They're like, where are these? And my feet are just destroyed, sweating and just uncomfortable. That's crazy. So you're about to do this. Are you going to pretty much keep your diet and everything the same way?
Yeah. Like, so I'm keeping it the same way, except the only problem with that is I'm not going to have as many resupply points as I did in the AT. So to compensate for that, I'm doing resupply boxes. It's essentially just a USPS box. You shove food in it and you send it to a post office along the trail with a specific set of instructions.
Oh, wow.
You just go hold for, Patrick Whole Foods Deivernois, and they hold it for you.
So, wow.
So I'm just sending supplies in advance.
Yeah. So did you already do that?
No, I mean, I have the stuff, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And the post office will hold that until.
Yeah, they'll hold it.
Oh, man.
So, I'm eating the same stuff. I have, 60 pounds of nut butter in my basement. I have $500 worth of cheese. And did you have did you bring like a stove? No, I never used a stove the entire trip.
Really?
Yeah. Most people bring a stove, and I was like, no, I never used it.
Wow.
I don't need to cook up cheese and nut butters and that sort of stuff. So everything I was eating was already perishable.
Same thing with that, and forgive me for comparing to the. Well, that's what he said. He didn't bring a stove or any sort of like utensils or anything because he was like, why would I want to like have to cook everything?
Yeah, I just brought a spoon from my house.
Yeah,
I didn't get some special titanium spoon. I just pulled a spoon out of my kitchen. I was like, this is good enough.
Titanium spork.
Yeah. No, I didn't bring that, but
man, that is incredible. So, is there what was I just going to say going on there? Oh, so if you're like, if you have like less resupply points in there, are you going to be more calculated as far as like the amount of water that you try to consume it at a time?
Yeah, because like everything has to be more calculated. Because you only have a limited amount of water in desert. It's like this. Okay, say 5 liters. It needs to last you 30 miles.
Yeah. So you just do it like
there's a different strategy in play. Like our strategy is going to be, since it's so hot during the day, we will intentionally night hike in the Sierras or the Mojave Desert just for cooler, weather.
Did you get bored while you were doing this? Like, was there any point in times where you're like, I'm bored as fuck?
I mean, early on, your mind sort of wanders to both good places and the bad places, but you just learn to, adapt. Control it and stay in the zone, really.
What do your parents say about you doing this one now?
I mean, they just accept it. They're just like, go for it.
Yeah.
So
now, I mean, what about you having this normal life as far as like going to get a job and settling down and doing all this shit that everyone forces down your throat growing up? Are you gonna just like hold off on getting a job and just enjoy your youth and do this and hike this?
Oh yeah, that's a question for the Pacific Crest Trail and after the Pacific Crest Trail, I should say.
But you don't have any ideas after this. This is just like you're just living by the seat of your pants.
I mean, I have some ideas. Obviously that's something I've thought about. I went to school for occupational safety and health, but I'm thinking I may want to go a different route.
Yeah.
So I like the stuff that you're doing right here. This is what I'm interested in.
Oh yeah. You ever think about doing a podcast?
I've thought about it, but I haven't acted on it. Thoughts are just thoughts unless,
See, it's interesting because from what you're saying, I think that I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I love this more than anything because I love learning from people. The reason I do this podcast is because I want to, I'm one of the people that I'm in that 9 to 5 life. Everyone is stuck in, their main focus. We grow up and we get our eyes set on one thing and we just put our head down and we just keep going. I'm obviously trying to break out of that, but 90% of the people are, fitting this template. But my whole thing is like, I've always been interested in things like, a funeral director. So I find a funeral director that I think would be a good person to explain it all to me. And I just bring people in here and I learn about things that I've never been able to, learn about in depth, but that I've always been curious about. Funeral director, wildlife management, beekeeper. And like, this is just an outlet to be able to do it. But it sucks because I know that you said things will be a little bit more calculated, but they make little things. That little box right there, you see right in front of the white box?
Yeah.
You could essentially take that thing, take a bunch of small memory cards, one microphone and one cable, and record every single thing that you've done.
Yeah.
And interview people throughout the trail.
Well, that's what I was going to do.
You should do that.
Yeah, that's my plan.
I've been looking at this I want to listen to that podcast.
All right. So this is what my plan is.
Talk to me about it.
So I have a GoPro and I was going to outfit it with, a microphone and whatnot, blah, 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 etc. But, because if you look when you look up Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, all you see is, oh, here's my equipment, blah, blah, blah. The equipment. No, we're getting rid of that.
I want the day to day.
But the thing I was going to focus on is like food, what I eat, health and wellness. No one talks about that. Nothing. I haven't heard a single word about health and wellness and nutrition from anybody.
See, I want to know about that. That's exactly it. I want it, but I don't want to see that, in your house or you're talking about it. Yeah. I want to see it from you while you're there.
Because everyone, if they talk about, health, wellness, and nutrition, it's always the agreed consensus. There's nothing challenging the consensus. So I was like, well, from what I said, like, do you think I eat like everybody else?
No.
Yeah. So I sort of challenge the consensus. Like there's other things that you can eat besides rice, ramen noodles, and Idaho potatoes.
Yeah.
And still have an enjoyable time.
But do you think that you also have it's kind of apples and oranges with you because you have more time necessarily? Like you're kind of like taking the time to enjoy your experiences there.
Right.
Some people might just be, have different goals to get it done. And I get that that's a different, aspect of it all, but, it's interesting because I really didn't know what people eat on there. I would assume people have freeze-dried meals, but I know that would be expensive over time because they're expensive. But, you can't eat freeze-dried meals every day because it's just crazy amounts of sodium. Like I said, like you said, there's no nutrition in that really. But that's a good point of view that I feel that I agree with you. People probably don't bring that up enough. Get wholesome foods rather than just like...
Yeah, like people spend all this money on staying at hostels and beer, but they were not willing to put, quality foods into their body. And that's how you're going to survive the trip is you need to, take care of yourself and your nutrient levels.
Did you get sick at all during the trip? As far as like, did you ever like get
a fever or anything?
Puke or anything like that? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like some people's feet are destroyed, as you said earlier, but like a lot of things haven't happened to me. I guess I'm just lucky or skilled or I don't know.
Yeah. A little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both. So, I mean, in this trail, like the Pacific Trail, or not the Pacific Trail, the AT, you said you were journaling in the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, obviously that kind of, tapers off, but, you ever think about bringing like a tape recorder?
Yeah, no, I was going to bring a GoPro and record.
Oh yeah, you just said that. Yeah, I guess
it's a more effective way than
writing everything down
in the
like
journal.
that.
Like, Dear Diary, day 1.
Yeah, is that what you tried to do in the beginning?
I mean, yeah, but because I did the journal because it, just for interest, but I also want to turn it into a book.
Yeah,
but
were you someone that wrote before this?
No, I mean.
Not anything really.
Not anything like I wrote a book already.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. But like my idea for my book changes, because I thought it was going to be like, my progression as I finish, but I'm turning into I have like a health and wellness spin on it. So like I was just going to compare like what I ate to what the consensus is. And
now along the trail, what were other people that you were seeing? Other people that you were seeing were eating like that was more of they were going the other way, like eating the ramen and rice and everything. There wasn't too many people doing what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people, but it's I shouldn't say we're a minority, but like it's a minority.
Yeah,
because everyone just eats the cheapest, lightest food, and that's like Snickers and everything else I said. It's just it's just like junk processed foods is their cheapest available food to get. So.
Wow. Now, are you going to have the same approach for the Pacific Crest where you're going to, kind of just however long it takes you, or are you going to try to, okay. Yeah.
I just, whenever I finish is whenever I finish. So I'm not going to I need to finish by Thanksgiving or my birthday or whatever.
I love that.
So
this is,
enjoy the journey. This is doing the Pacific Crest Trail and or the AT are experiences people have longed to do. Like I met a guy named Empty Space there. He was planning to do the AT for 40 years of his life.
Yeah.
And did it.
Yeah.
But how many people have that thought in their head? Oh, I want to do the Appalachian Trail and die with that thought in their head. Like how many people think they want to do it and just never do it?
I mean, anything, not even just the trail. It's like people want to do things their entire lives and they just never do it. And it's like, why not do it? This is like a concentrated dose of motivation every time I talk to someone, because essentially I'm trying to pull spark notes from their whole life about how they got to where they are. You know what I mean? It's almost like a cheat code into what I am looking into. Like, you know what I mean? I get to ask the questions that I want. They drift off into tangential thoughts. And it's like, I've had 150, you're going to be episode 157. I've talked, most of those have been different people, but all walks of life. And it's like, everyone has had different experiences. Everyone has had different, ways of going about things. It would be so cool to see that along the way. I'm sure you're meeting all different kinds of people in there. You should definitely, do the GoPro thing.
Yeah.
Now, how are you getting power for your phone and everything? Do you have a solar panel?
No, I just had I had battery banks. I had 10,000 milliamp battery banks with me. So that's the way I power all my electronics. And whenever I got to a hostel or a place I can charge them, I just charge them up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. I'm trying to think if there's anything else particular that I'm curious. So where does the Pacific Crest go through?
It goes through, you start on, closer to, you start in California, but closer to, Nevada and all those other states. So you start near the border, you go through the Mojave, you go through the Sierra Nevada mountains, you go to Crater Lake in Oregon, you go through, I think it's the Timber Ridge Mountains in Oregon. Then you essentially serpent up and you go through the Northern Cascades in Washington.
Wow.
Near Seattle. And it ends at the Washington-Canadian border. Or, Washington State-Canadian border.
Jeez.
So,
what an incredible thing. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm
excited for you. I'm excited because I bet I feel like it almost like I feel like the way you are before you do this to where you become in your journey in life, your life probably just morphs into something else. Like it's almost like you probably want more of it. Like you want to get back out there and just want to be. Did you appreciate the more simplified version of things?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Did you miss anything? Like, what did you miss most about civilization? Was there anything?
I mean, obviously, like maybe in the summer I was like, oh, I could really use air conditioner right now. But
yeah,
I like the simplified lifestyle, we'll call it, just because there's just less worries.
Yeah.
Here you have to worry about so much. You're just constantly bombarded with bad or good information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just, less stressful, we'll say.
Wow.
And obviously simplified extremely.
Yeah.
So I pretty much got up, deconstructed camp, walked, and whatever happened during the day happened during the day, and then made camp and went to bed. That's pretty much the day.
Did you find any cool shit along the way as far as things that you kept with you? Like as far as if you found I don't know, like a fucking railroad tie or something, I don't know. It's a dumb question, but I mean, I
don't think I picked up anything up along the way, but there's so many cool places along the way.
Yeah.
So whether it's, it's made by somebody or just natural.
Yeah. Wow. What a wild experience. April 14th, you're leaving.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be starting on April 17th.
Jeez.
So,
I mean, are you, I assume you don't have nerves about this. You probably have some, excited nervousness, but you just got out of the trail basically.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're built, you're ready to go for
it's
it.
addicting. Doing this kind of stuff, it's that's all you want now. You're like, this is so much fun. Let's do it again.
Wow.
So that's pretty much the mentality I have. I'm like, I can't wait to do it again.
Have you been hiking since you got off the AT?
I mean, since I would say no, just because of the, a lot of the places, there's nothing that replicates the AT around.
I know,
Pittsburgh, unfortunately.
But I mean, are you hiking in the mindset of keeping up with your physique right now?
Yeah. So I go to the gym and I walk around, but next weekend I'm actually going to do the Rachel Carson Trail with two of my friends.
What is, where's that at?
It starts in North Park and ends in Freeport, Pennsylvania. It's 40 miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's actually not too bad. Me and my friends have walked on it for the last few days.
And are you going to, how long do you think that'll take you?
2 days.
2 days?
So.
Wow. Jesus.
So I never noticed it until recently. I was like, this has been in my backyard this entire time.
I never even heard of that. Rachel Carson Trail?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people have never heard of that. That's pretty interesting. Geez, we have to do another one of these whenever you get back from there.
I'll probably be a different person compared to who I am now.
I can't wait to just see. I hope you document this.
No, I am going to.
Because do you regret not documenting the AT?
I thought about vlogging and recording it in the beginning, but
I feel like it would take away
interest. But what you were about to say, I think it takes away from the experience because I think I would be so focused on I need to get this shot. Yeah, perfectly.
You need content.
Oh, I need this. I need to see this mountain on a beautiful day. It's just I shouldn't say a laundry list of worries, but it's just we'll just call it a laundry list of worries.
Things that you have to do. It's because
you're trying to appease people, and I was I'd rather record, instead of trying to fit my video to fit others' expectations, I'd rather just have it be in line with who I am. And if other people enjoy it, come on board.
The GoPro is such a good idea because the new one, they have media mods on there that have the microphone. I bought all these things and realistically, you just have to charge that son of a bitch up and it's so small, weighs nothing. And you could literally, a couple seconds all day, any day you want, turn it on. It has that screen so you could see now. It's
I have the Hero 8. I don't have the Hero. I don't have the Max or the Hero 9, but I can still buy all the attachments I need.
Yeah, and it's just, oh man. And then you just have to have the micro SD cards, and you can store shit forever.
Yeah, I brought like a 400 gigabyte one with me, and I didn't even use the whole thing. I used like a few hours of it at the most.
Wow.
So
Jesus, what an exciting time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pumped for you.
So
I can't wait to talk to you again whenever you're done with this.
Yeah.
All right. So an ending segment that I do with all my guests on the podcast is a segment called Desert Island Questions. So, Desert Island Questions is whenever I give each of my guests 3 categories to take with them on a desert island to exhaust until expulsion. And technically, you know, what you just did for the past 7 months, in a sense, is kind of like being on a desert island. You know, you're existing and you're adapting and existing. But, so the first category is 3 things to watch on a desert island. So, let me set it up for you. It's basically like Castaway. I put you on an island and you have a TV and you have a DVD player and you get to pick 3 DVDs that you have for the rest of your life until you just die. What would the 3 DVDs be?
I'm trying to think of things that are, you know, humor. I mean, Step Brothers is a funny movie. That's one I would
Hilarious.
pick.
It's a good one.
This is a good question. Ooh, I don't know what my other 2
I got good ones, so just be prepared. We got some
Longest
questions.
Yard.
The new one or the original?
The new one with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, new one's great too.
I'm trying to think of another movie.
That's a good
Say
one.
Band of Brothers.
Oh,
the next
okay.
one. Well, I guess that's more than one.
That's
DVD,
all right. I'll give you that. That's a good point. So those are like 3 things that you can watch over and over again?
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Those are 3 that just came to mind.
What about, okay, so the next category is I usually ask people 3 books to take with them. Do you read at all?
Yeah, I read.
So what would 3 books be that you would take on a desert island?
I'll say Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Now, wait. Let me just pause this for a second. I get it. I've read it. It's a good book, but would you read that every day on a desert island? This is somewhere you're literally just going to be on this island for the rest of your life. I want to know what you like. These are guilty pleasures.
Can it be books that are prevalent to your situation or just anything?
Anything you want. Ooh. Anything. Like, it could be Harry Potter if you want. This is something that, this is your only form of entertainment for the unforeseeable future. Take a second to answer.
Yeah, I need to think about this.
Absolutely.
If I don't read much fiction. I don't read much fiction.
That's fine.
So,
that's fine.
I'm trying to think of, like, books that I've read that I would enjoy reading.
That's fine. And you don't have to feel pressure to just spit out answers. I want to know your thoughts. So if you want to pick different movies, whatever you want, I want you to think about them.
We might be here for a while. Oh God.
That's all right. I have this little nifty marker right there, and it lets me know when to cut out any downtime.
I don't even know what movies I'd bring. I think I would keep the movies the same.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of books. Well, I haven't read the whole Harry Potter series, so maybe
I just started listening to it. Driving back and forth. I had to go to Indiana for work, and the whole way there I just listened to podcasts, but the whole way back I was like, I have all these Audible credits. I just downloaded Harry Potter and I started listening to it. It's incredible. It's great.
Can I pick series, or does it have to be a specific book?
I'll give you a series.
Can I pick more than one series?
You get 3 choices.
So I guess I would read Harry Potter because I haven't read all the books.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the movies?
I would say yes, but I haven't read the books.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones, like I watched some of the TV show, but I haven't read the books. I'm trying to think of another one at the end.
Give you the Boy Scout handbook.
Yeah. First aid survival guide. I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, people have definitely said that on here. I want
I'll take that as a
military survival guide.
A first aid or a survival guide.
Edible plants, things like that. Okay, I'll give you a survival compendium. Okay, so the third category is 3 CDs. You get a CD player. Yeah, it's 3. You get a CD player, and you get to pick 3 CDs of 3 greatest hit CDs. Any artist. I'll let you tell me them.
Any artist. Do you have to name a specific series, or can I name artists?
I mean, if you could get specific, the more specific you get, the better. But if you just want to say an artist, that's fine.
So I don't listen to music that often, so it's like, I'm trying to think of what. Like, I like Frank Sinatra and jazz, so like, I'd bring something along those lines.
Okay.
I'm just gonna list artists like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and I don't know what the third one would be.
These are your favorite.
Yeah, I like listening to them.
That's fine. I'm not saying anything wrong.
I'm trying to think of a third one. I'm trying to diversify.
What's the first concert you ever been to?
It was some random band when I was in Prague.
In Prague?
Yeah.
Are you a world traveler?
Well, I guess I am now.
Well, I mean, what were you over there for?
My family and I just went for, Christmas and New Year's. We were there on New Year's, but my mom scheduled the flight too early. They celebrate their New Year's on the day of, not New Year's Eve, the day of New Year's at 6 p.m. So we missed the whole party. I was like, you didn't research this beforehand?
I had an experience somewhat like this. We went to Vegas for a wedding. One of my friends got married at the Golden Nugget. So we went to my wife's uncle who lives out there. So we went to his house. We were supposed to be leaving the next day. But I scheduled it for 12 o'clock, but I thought this was 12 o'clock the day that we were leaving, but I actually scheduled it for 12 midnight the day before, and because it was midnight, it shifted.
Oh, no.
So I knew that it was going to be absolutely catastrophic fight between me and my wife because of panic and everything. So I just immediately canceled that plane ticket, ate the money, and had to buy another plane ticket.
Oh, God.
It was ridiculous. That was probably the most stressed I've ever been. But okay, so those are 3 good CDs. I'll accept those.
So, sorry, I'm not, well versed in music and books.
No,
but I was like,
that's not the point. It's not the point of this. You don't need to say any sort of like interesting answers. I just want to know what people really, we literally learned about, your life talking on this trail, but I feel like these last questions kind of scratch away a little bit more of the surface of you as a person. Okay, so the third to last question is the death row meal. So before you die, you ever see them articles of people before they're put to death, they get one last meal of whatever they want from wherever they want, as much as they want. What would yours be?
I'm going to have to say a nice ribeye that's reverse seared.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. What about, okay, so that's your main course. I need to know your appetizer, and I need to know a dessert.
Ooh. Appetizer. I don't even know what. That's a good question.
It's a good question. That's why I ask them. Because you can get pretty
You get nitpicky here.
You can get detailed here. I'm
trying to think of an appetizer I would eat now.
Yeah, that you would enjoy.
Yeah. Because I compared like what I eat now compared to what I ate in the past is different. So I was like, an appetizer. Let's go with like mozzarella sticks.
Oh, amazing.
And then dessert, we'll say like a sundae or a banana split.
Oh, you an ice cream guy?
I mean, no, I would say not really, but I guess in this case we'll make an exception. So.
All right, you're a simple man. You take what you can get.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So,
I appreciate that. You got to adapt, and
it's a sad moment. So ice cream's the way to roll.
It's a sad moment. Yeah, you couldn't even enjoy that meal to know that you're about to be dead. What about a beverage?
Let's say kombucha tea, or some type. I would say tea, or some fermented tea of some sort.
All right, I like that. Okay, so the second to last question that I ask everyone is usually I have I'm sponsored by Turner's Tea. I have a crate that I usually have everyone that I've had on submit a question into, like their own question that they want to ask people, and I usually have people pick them out.
Oh,
but
God.
since I moved, I have not set that back up. But I've came up with a great question. So you're getting ready to go on a car ride, a hike across the Appalachian Trail, whatever. You walk into a gas station. You get to pick one single snack from the gas station that you love, that you can only have for the rest of your life. What would it be?
Oh, for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Ooh. One single. Went to the gas station.
Yeah, one single snack. People could either go the savory route, chips. People could go beef jerky. People can go candy.
I think I'm going to have to go with beef jerky.
Beef jerky? Love beef jerky? I'm a fan. You have a specific kind you like?
No, not really.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Beef jerky, fire it down.
Yeah.
It's like gold.
Because I'm trying to think of things exclusively at a gas station. I'm like,
I know, it's a hard
Sometimes
choice.
there's a block of cheese at a gas station.
What's your favorite candy bar?
I really don't eat like sweets or anything like that. Really,
No, really?
no. Like even ice cream, I was like, I think I would use that as my last meal, but usually, yeah, like all the processed foods are taken out.
How long have you
refined
been like
sugars
this?
Since we'll call it like 2018.
Well, before what was your shift? Why did you want to shift?
So when it was my sophomore year of college, and like I weighed 100 pounds previously. So I could show you a photo. I look completely different. I'll show you after this.
You were skinny.
No, I was fat.
Oh, you weighed 100 pounds more.
I weighed 300 pounds in my sophomore year. So I just gave myself like a realistic look in the mirror. I was like, you're not looking too hot here. You need to start losing weight here.
Wow.
So.
And you just cut out all the processed shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Started working out.
So, yeah. Wow. It was mostly just changing what I ate.
Yeah.
Because if you work out and you eat like crap, it's sort of just,
offsets.
So,
wow. Okay, that's good.
So that's why I was like appetizers and desserts. I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting.
I know, it's interesting.
I guess I can eat the junk food. It is my last, hoorah in this world. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So the last question that I ask everyone on here is, if you could have a conversation with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
I'm trying to think. Alive or dead?
Can't be a loved one either.
Yeah. No, it has to be like George Washington.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson. I'm picking Thomas Jefferson.
That's who you want?
Yeah. He seems like an interesting character.
Yeah, he does seem like an interesting guy.
He was the man in this day, supposedly.
Supposedly he was. Supposedly he was kind of an asshole too, though. But it would be interesting to know. You would be surprised how vast is the right word for how different people's answers are? Yeah.
Yeah. How broad?
Broad, that's it. Broad that people's answers are. Some people have said Randy Marsh from South Park. Some people have said, some people have just said wild shit on here, like, Stalin. You know what I mean? It's just like,
that would be an interesting.
It would be interesting. So. One guy who is he's a pretty hardcore Democrat. He was like, I'd love to talk to Donald Trump. He was like, I'd love to sit down and talk to him about it. And
I didn't even think of that.
It's an interesting conversation and an interesting thought. Okay. So, I want you to, take the time and plug all of your social media, your channels, where anyone could find any sort of updates on what you're doing. Right.
So on Instagram, I'm Patrick Explorers, and via my Instagram, you can find my YouTube channel. It only has 34 subscribers, but I need 100 to have a custom link.
Yeah.
So that's why I say just go to my Instagram and find it. Other than that, you can just look me up, Patrick Deivernois, and it's spelled Deivernois.
How do you say your last name?
Deivernois.
Where's that come from?
It's French.
Oh, wow.
So
no big deal. But dude, I appreciate you coming over to talk to me about this. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, we could sit here for 2 hours and talk about this.
I
2
know.
hours longer.
I know. And we're already at like an hour and 45 minutes, and it's, it's just like endless. I feel I can't wait to have you come back on in another, probably
6 months.
6 months. If you had to make a goal, if you had to make some sort of like idea of when you think you'll be done with this, what would you say?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, it would be Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because, in the winter, in the Northern Cascades, they can get 34 feet of snow. So like,
Jesus,
I don't want to be there when that happens. So let's get out as quickly as possible.
That's fair. I think we did a pretty damn good job of touching base on your for what it is.
Yeah.
You're gone for 7 months. That's your life for 7 months. I think in an hour and 45 minutes, we did a pretty good job of touching over your life in a sum of the last.
Yeah. Obviously, we could have gone and
tangential.
We can have gone in a lot more directions, but I guess that's for next time.
I'm excited to talk next time and compare your experiences because you're new. You were fresh on this. This was a fresh start, but now you're a seasoned veteran. If you hike the whole AT, you're a seasoned veteran, 100%. It's going to be interesting to hear the difference.
Yeah. Like one big difference is I started off by myself on the AT, but I'm starting with a group on the Pacific Crest Trail. So that's going to be an interesting.
Do you have any like reservations as far as like if people could, if you guys can match each other's pace, if someone's going quicker than you or?
It's pretty much pace is how obviously, you have to like the person you're hiking with, but pace determines it a lot.
Wow.
That determines like your selection, we'll say, or your pool of people you can pick from.
Would you consider yourself a fast-paced hiker, or do you think you're more of a slower pace?
More of a slow.
Oh, okay.
So I just like to go steady. Like no matter what the terrain is, up, down, sideways, diagonal, whatever, I sort of just go at the same pace.
What do you think what's the quickest anyone's ever finished the AT? Do you know?
Running or walking?
What do you mean running? People run it?
People run this trail.
Really?
I think the record right now is held by a guy named String Bean, and he finished it in 41 days.
What the fuck? Yeah. 41 days?
41 days.
I mean, does he have someone that's refueling him? Is he not packing anything, or is he?
No, he did it unsupported, so he was just like
by
himself.
God.
So he had to like run into town, run back on the trail. Yeah, they're doing 50 plus miles a day.
Oh my God, 41 days.
Yeah. So he beat the supported and unsupported record.
Oh my God.
So just by himself.
What an insane thought.
Yeah. They make me look like amateurs, to say the least. Just running the thing. I couldn't do that. I think that takes all the enjoyment away.
Are you a runner?
No.
Yeah, I hate running.
I hate running on concrete, especially. I could run in like, rugged terrain and grass, but concrete just hurts too much.
Yeah, it hurts your fucking knees for sure.
I feel like they're about to blow up when that happens. So,
Pat, I am thankful that we were able to make this happen. I am appreciative of what you do, and I'm excited to hear about the next adventure that you have.
Oh yeah, whoever's listening to this, including yourself, you need to press me on this. I guess we'll call it vlogging stuff, or producing content on.
I'm going to be pretty active on your ass about this, because
feel free to roast me if I don't.
I really hope that you do this, because I am the perfect mark of the viewer that wants to see what you are putting out. And I think that you experiencing the AT and not having that pressure of doing that was probably a great experience, because it's like you had that initial experience, like you already did that, and now you kind of have an idea of what you're in for. And I think that it'll be a little bit more easy for you to to take content with what you're doing now.
Yeah, I should ask people what kind of questions they're curious about. I guess because you had your own list of questions. I'm sure everyone else has their own list of questions.
Well, I mean, all those questions didn't even, come from me all the time. Like I will usually reach out to people that I know are in the subject matter of what I'm about to talk about. And my buddy said, I told him, I said, tomorrow I'm interviewing a 23-year-old dude who just hiked the Appalachian Trail, who's leaving in April to go hike the Pacific Crest. And he said, get the fuck out of here. Dude, this is sweet. He's like, I cannot wait to listen to this. He said, that's insanely impressive. Please go into detail with asking. At first, he thought you were a her, but he said, please go into detail asking him about his prep work as far as knowledge of what gear to take, how much food, how you manage your food supply, and how one physically prepares for the journey. I'd like to know what size pack he carried, tent or hammock, how many pairs of clothes, things like that. But I feel like that my questions are probably, pretty general as far as what people would want to know about. Yeah. Because people want to know your equipment. People want to know how you're eating, how you're getting water, how you're staying healthy. If you had any injuries, if any scary shit happened, that was one of the questions that was submitted into the Turner's Crate by someone. It said, what is your scariest travel story? And, someone I interviewed on here named Boaz Frankel, he was somewhere and a whole town flash flooded. Water was up past the stop signs, and they were traveling around the town in kayaks. And
wow.
And all the insects and everything came up with it. So there's lizards and shit, snakes.
Gunk water, you have to paddle through it.
Yeah, dude. And he said all these kayaks are filled with spiders and shit like that. So it's did you have any spider experiences out there?
I mean, I saw them, but none of them bit me.
Yeah, nothing crazy like that. But I feel like that's pretty much what people want to know. And the beauty of my podcast is some people put a time limit on their conversations because they just want to get it down. I am a long form podcast because that's where you really get into the meat of it all.
Flesh the details out more.
100%. Got to, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm excited to hear about everything else. Everyone that's listening, please go follow him at Patrick Explores on Instagram. Scroll down. I'll have all the links there. You can just click on them, subscribe to his YouTube channel and everything else. And kind of, we could all keep on his ass about, making this.
Yeah, please do.
Making all this stuff happen. And, please, if you have not yet, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It is a huge help for me. It's free to do. I do this shit for free every week. And I just appreciate all the numbers that I keep seeing climbing week in, week out. But I appreciate everyone listening, and I will call you right back.